Each time I'm turning, the thread slides right there. That wire that is here, it's not letting the thread to go inside. Hey guys, today we're making a stainless steel wire bobbin. What we're gonna start with is 1.5 mil stainless steel wire. Sometimes people refer to it as a spring wire. It's very robust. When you try to bend it, it's difficult. It will be able to withstand the pressure of the thread when you're winding on the hook. I have cut it as a length of wire about 70 centimeters or so. So now we need our round nose pliers. We're gonna measure here about 10 centimeters. It's good. And then we're gonna bend it. You see it? So this longer piece, I'm gonna twist around this smaller piece. First few wraps are important. It'll set the tone for the rest of the wraps. The wire is long, it's touching everything around it, making noise. Touching wraps really close together, so there's no gaps. You see a few wraps there. Now I've done about 5 wraps so far, and now it's getting to a point when I'm trying to twist it, and instead of twisting around the wire, it's starting to flex and bend. So that's the part when we're gonna need our vice grips. I got the vice grips. Grab it really close to the last turn that we did. We're gonna squeeze it so now it's secure, and then we're gonna continue twisting. So you're twisting, it gets to a point where the vice grips is on the way. We're gonna open it, and then just turn this around, grab it again, and keep twisting. Make sure it's touching turns real close together. Now guys, yeah, so I kept twisting it, and now you see here it went out of sequence. So this turn is bigger than the rest. That's no problem. You can easily fix it with your round nose pliers. You see, it's tighter now, the turn, and you can continue twisting. Again, if it gets too wide in places, you can easily squeeze it with your round nose pliers back into shape. I've twisted a bit. I'm about halfway. It's around 2 centimeters long. So I want to do another 2 for it to be about 4 centimeters long or so. We'll keep going. I've almost finished twisting it. Okay, so now you see this wire, it's on the same level as this eye. It's not as flush, so now we can just squeeze it with our round nose pliers, make it flush. Yeah, now it's good. And this is going to be our base where the thread passes through. Okay, so now I squeeze it in the vise. We are going to bend it towards this eye. A little bit more. Okay guys, so this is what we're left with. So now we need to snip it here. We can pull this part out. We are left with this. There is a hole there. And there is a hole there. So the thread will go in there, come out here, and that's how we're going to wind it. So now we need to cut this close here. Alright guys, yeah, so now I've bended it a bit more so it's lower profile to the twisted wire. So now all we have to do is snip this part off. This is what we're left with. So now we have to file the sharp edges. I have filed down the edges. They're smoother. And they're not gonna break the thread just in case if it touches there. It's almost finished. Now we just have to smooth out the edges around here because when I had it in the vice grips, they left the small marks. I don't know if you can see. So now we're gonna file them down, and then we're gonna polish each end of the wire tube. When you're working with the rotary tool, guys, very important. And don't forget the glasses. I'm gonna put them on now. Yeah, that's not too bad. So now just a polishing part left. First I want to polish inside of the wire tube where the thread is going to come out of. And this is your normal felt polishing bit. When it's brand new, it's white like this, it's round. And this is my old one. I've already been polishing with it. And it got a pointy bit at the front. First we're going to put on a bit of polishing paste. Good polishing. You see the front, really shiny, really smooth. The thread will not break. Now we're going to change the bit from this old one to this new one. And then we're going to polish just the sides of the wire. Cover the polishing wheel in paste. Okay, so I have it polished, I have it washed, and now it's shiny. It's polished along the sides here, and the main thing that it's polished on both ends. So now this is the thinnest, skinniest thread I have, and I'm gonna try to spin it around this wire, pretend it's a hook, and see if it will break the thread or not.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58.
60. So it's pretty good. It's not breaking the thread. So this is the skinniest, thinnest thread that I have. So definitely gonna do well with any other thread that I have, 8/0 or 6/0 or thicker. There you go, guys. I have made 3 little thread winding tubes. 2 of them are 4 centimeters long and made from memory wire, 1.5 millimeter in diameter, and this one is 5 centimeter long. This one is a heavy duty one. It's 2 mil in diameter, and it's quite strong. So these ones I can use to make smaller to medium flies, and this one I can use to make bigger flies. We have made our front part of our bobbin holders, so now all we have to do is bend this wire. I have cut, this is a normal stainless steel wire. It's actually used for welding. I have cut the wire, so now we just have to file it down at the front on each side so it's smooth. I have filed it on each side with the file, so now it's flat, it's ready to go. And I also have marked with my calipers a center line where we're going to bend it. Okay guys, I got my round nose pliers, so now we just have to bend the wire. Just have to find the center line. There it is, right there. Right there, that's where I left the scratch with my calipers. I'm gonna squeeze it, and then I'm gonna just bend it. Yeah, so I have bent the wire. 1.5, 1.5, 2.5. Before we go any further, I just want to check that these ends are equal. I'm gonna push it together like this, and now you can see that this side is just a little bit longer than this one, so that means I have more filing to do on this side. I have filed down one leg on each piece of wire to make it the same length, and I have also filed down here at the front because there was a little mark left from the round nose pliers when we were bending it. So if we'll have a look at it now, it's pretty equal together. So first we have to close the loop. So now what we're going to do is bend it outwards, and then we're just going to make a bend like so. Yeah, that's pretty straight. That looks not too bad. We'll just close it a little bit more. I want this part to be 1 centimeter long. That's where we're gonna wrap with the wire and solder in our spring. I've marked 1 centimeter on my calipers, and I have put marks both sides of the wire. So now I'm just gonna bend it outwards. Make sure it's straight, and we're going to bend. We just have to check and see how this one is fitting inside. It is a little bit loose, so we're going to close this loop. We can do it a little bit more. Let me see. I think that is near perfect. This is just a piece of old braided fishing line that I found on the bank of a lake, and I didn't walk by it. I took it home because I knew I can use it. So we're going to wrap this braid around there just to see which way the spring is going to sit. So let's see if it's sitting straight, if it's not. Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm quite happy with it. Okay guys, so I have already wrapped two of our bobbin holders with copper wire and braided line. And here I have two kinds of copper wire. This one is 0.3 mil. This one is 0.5. I have chosen to go with 0.5 mil because 0.3 mil, it was too thin. It kept going in between the spaces into our stainless steel coil. So first I'm going to take my braided line and I'm going to wrap this touching turns forward and back. And we have to wrap it just so all of it stays flat and pushed in against this wire piece. Yeah, we really don't want to go any further because then the braid going to be touching the wire frame where it's going to be soldered onto. We're going to do a whip finish. Three turns. Okay guys, so we got about 60-70 centimeters of wire. So now we're just going to position our stainless steel coil, and we're going to position it so this end is flush with this part where the bend starts, so right there. And then we're going to take our copper wire, we're going to catch it with our finger, and then we're going to make the first turn. Pretty tight wraps, so the coil will squeeze the stainless steel wire coils to the wireframe. We're going to take 3 turns back for a whip finish. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to come in and whip finish. You're going to make sure that it's touching turns. It's not easy to whip finish with the copper wire 0.5 mil, but we're going to get it done. Very good. Here we go. Okay guys, it's time to flux. When the solder melts, it will be easier for it to spread all around the copper wire and go into every crevice with the help of flux. So I'm just going to apply it with the cotton bud. Okay guys, the soldering iron is hot. We're just going to clean it with our saucepan washing thing. Great. We're going to apply the solder. We're just going to wait for the solder to melt and heat up our bobbin holder, and then it can start going into all the crevices. Okay guys, so I managed to solder this one completely, so there's no gaps anywhere now. At the front or at the back, it's solid. So now we're going to do the same thing here. There's a little gap, and then there's a little gap in there. I'm going to try to fix it as well. So the key here is get the part that you want covered melted, but not the rest of the bobbing, because then the solder will fall off again. Here we go. That looks pretty covered to me. That is pretty good. Okay guys, so I have managed to solder the bobbin holders. We're gonna remove the braided line at the front. Okay guys, so here we are. We have soldered the front part of our bobbin holders. So now I have washed them. They're all clean now. Now I just need to do a little bit of filing, because here where we have done the whip finish, at the end there's a little piece sticking out. So I just gonna file them. It's looking much smoother now, and now there is no step in there where we whip finished, or no big step there where we started the wire. So now guys, it's time to solder these nickel balls onto the end of our bobbin holders. One thing is, when you're choosing the ball, you need to make sure that it's just big enough to not fall into the spool. I have already got grooves filed in at the end of each wire, so the ball will hold better at the end of the wire. Okay guys, so it's time to solder. While the soldering iron is getting hot, I have prepared the balls. They're fluxed inside. I have cut a 3mm solder, and I put it in it, and then I'm just gonna melt it, and then I'm gonna be keep filling it with little bits of solder that I cut from the wire until it's full, and then I'm gonna try the depth with the wire inside and see how much solder I need. Okay guys, so with my calipers on my smaller bobbin, I have made a marking 2.5 centimeters from the end of the ball to here. I have made a scratch. So I'm gonna find where I have made a scratch. It's about there. So now I'm gonna bend it slightly. Not too much, because it's easy to bend it too much, and then it'll be difficult to bend it back, and then the wire might break if you bend it too many times. Looks okay. I'm gonna bend it a little more, and then I'm gonna bend the other one a little more as well. But I want to have a nice little twist going in this part. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna try to bend it out by hand. You see, nice little twist. And then on this side, that to me seems fine. But now it's too far apart. You see, the bobbin spins. It spins too freely. Yeah, so now I'm gonna have to bend it back. Just a little bend. That feels still a little bit too loose. Let's check with the harder plastic one. Yeah, I can bend it just a little bit more. And now the other one. Too far, a little bit back. That doesn't look too bad. Let's check. Yeah, that feels better. Better tension on it. Yeah. So now one last touch. We are going to put here shrink tube to hide our solder parts. On the bigger one I have a 13mm heat shrink tube, and then on the two smaller ones I have 10mm. So now we're going to light our candle and melt a heat shrink tube. So now we're just going to bring the tube to the candle, and we're going to start spinning it around. And you will see the heat shrink tube taking shape. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So now we're gonna leave it here to rest and cool down. We're going to leave it there as well. And now the last one. We're going to make sure it's all the way to the edge. Here we go. We have finished the bobbins. I have the spools of thread inside of them. They're sitting nicely, spinning very smoothly. And the reason why I have a black thread inside, there's a little bit of polishing paste left in the front part of each bobbin holder. And if it's a thread of any different color, it will stain it. I'm just gonna use a black thread for a while until I test them. And then once the black thread gonna take away all the polishing paste from inside the tubes, I'd be able to use any colored thread after that. Okay guys, let's try the bobbins out. This is our first bobbin. The thread is 8/0. It's going really well. I love the thread control and the tension and the smoothness. And what helps me to do the touching turns is this extra bit of thread. As I'm turning each time, the thread slides on it and it goes onto the hook. And when I was making this bobbin, I was thinking that the thread will go in between the coils of the wire, but it doesn't because of this piece. Each time I'm turning, the thread slides right there. It's not that wire that is here. It's not letting the thread to go inside. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this bobbin. That's our second bobbin with a thicker thread, uni 6/0. I have no worries because if it did well with the thinner thread, it is definitely going to do well with the thicker thread. That's for sure. Yeah, and it does the same thing. Very smooth, great thread control. And the way you know you have a good thread control when you're winding your thread with your bobbin, the distance that you set for a wind, it should always stay the same. Because if you turn and then your distance all of a sudden gets bigger like this, that means you don't have thread control. Or let's say you're turning and then the bobbin gets closer to the hook like that. That means you're not letting out enough thread. Let's try our biggest bobbin. There it is. And the thread I have there, it's actually a sewing thread. Because it's a heavier bobbin, that's why I have a sewing thread there. Because I'm probably gonna use it with that for attaching articulated hooks or making bigger flies. So let's try it. Very good, here we go. So even though it is very big bobbin, and it's 2.5 mil wire that's holding the spool of thread, it still winds very smoothly. You can wind as slow as you want or as fast as you like, and it's still gonna keep it touching turns. Now guys, so we have finished our bobbins. They're tested, ready to go. So now we just have to put them to good use. But before we do, we just have to make a whip finisher, and then we can make a lure.